But yeah, anyway, so let's go on to the thing that Ben so astutely noticed, which is kind of what if you want to update data, but you know you want to be one way. You want to make Vue respond to events basically. So again, in vanilla JavaScript, we use add event listener in order to add JavaScript events in order to listen to stuff that's happening in the DOM. In Vue, there's a very nifty way that we can kind of make that all simple, and we can just use the v-on directive. So let's just delete everything we've got, and we'll go for a simpler example. And what we'll do is we're just going to add in a button that's like click me, and we'll do click the button, and we'll add in some show text that says you. Actually, we'll go even simpler. In fact, you don't even need to. We'll start actually without the data because I'll use it as an opportunity to show you about one of the other things we can add in to this Vue instance. So if you reset kind of everything back to 0, we have this click me button that doesn't do anything. So you can spam it on loads of times and it's like, oh, it doesn't do anything. It's a useless button. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the v-on directive in order to make it do something. So to start v-on, we're going to go v-on again, like we have done before. It doesn't have a well, it does. You put in this little colon here again.
Sorry, can you guys hear crackling? Or is it just me?
I can't, but maybe it's coming from my end.
Ben?
No, not really.
Okay, sorry, it was just me then. My bad. Take it out, Rob.
Let me just check this is all right. That's pretty cool. So yeah, so just as with, so remember with vbind, we did vbind colon, and we then selected the like HTML attribute that we wanted to change. With v-on, we do v-on and then colon like before, but now we choose the event that we want to listen for. So in the case of a button, we probably want to listen for the click event. So if you do v-on colon click, this is now something that this is now defining an action that will trigger when you click on the button. But notice we've left this blank. We've done a blank thing here. Now, one of the things actually, when before I was doing my magic with these double curly braces, we were just putting inside stuff from the method. We were just putting inside stuff from the data, yeah. So we were just putting inside like the data or something. That's a terrible name, but like greeting, and it was like hello, and we did like hello here, yeah. Why isn't it showing there? That's an interesting point. Oh, because I've need to write greeting. It's the wrong variable name. Yep, so we had hello here. You can actually write any JavaScript code you like inside of these curly braces. So for example, say I don't want to say hello, I just want to print the length of the string. I could just do greeting.length, and that will say 5. Or I could say greeting. I think there's a reverse method in JavaScript. No, okay. I don't know what you can do on strings in JavaScript, but you can theoretically do like any. You can only do one line of JavaScript, but you can do any one line of JavaScript that you like inside of these curly brackets. So you don't just have to do greeting or the name of your variable that you want to use. You can use any JavaScript stuff you like. And that also is true of inside this v-on click. When we do v-on click, what we probably want to do is we probably want to call some sort of function, don't we?
Yeah.
Now you could write a function declaration inside this string here, but it would look messy as hell. So what you can actually do is there's a property on the Vue object called methods, and it sits next to data. So we've got L data, and now we've got methods. And inside of methods, we can define functions that we want to use on our VueJS object. So for example, we might want to do a thing that says, I don't know, say hello. And here we call say hello. And make sure you do these. Do you have to do the curly brace? I think you do. Let's put something inside of say hello, like alert, hello world. Actually, yeah, let's just go with that for now. And there you go. It says hello world when you click on it. I clicked on that. Now I believe you can also. You actually, in this case, don't even need to put these the brackets at the end. You can just write say hello. And actually, you probably do want to write just brackets. You probably do want to write it without the brackets most of the time, for reasons which I will get into in a mo. So that gives you just a basic. Oh yeah, I know. A basic box. So we'll manage to get a box up here.
Cool.
Ben, Mark,
Yeah.
you got a box?
Yep.
Okie dokie. So the other thing we might want to do in here, well, there's a couple of things. First thing is, what happens if we want to access? So see, we've just hard typed in hello world here. What happens if we want to access the actual data object from inside methods? And the nice thing is that just like when we were working with classes, we can use the this object. So we can use this in order to access this new object. And in order to get the greeting, what we need to do is this greeting. Now, if we click the button, it will just say hello because that's what we've got stored in data. Now, once we want to do something a bit more cool, so say we have a div, and inside of it, we say we want to print out the mouse coordinates. So let's put in just to sketch bones. Let's put in x, and we're going to have some variable on our data called x, which is going to store the x position of the mouse, and we're going to have another one called y, which is going to store the y position, and then we do our standard insert, like our standard list comprehension, not list comprehension, interpolation, like this. So you see, you get something like this popping in. So now we want to make it so that these numbers here show the value of the way the mouse is. So how would we do that? Does anyone have a suggestion?
Here, would you have something like on click, but instead of on click, it's on move or something similar like that? Just
like what you can do, remember, is you can go on the view instance thing here and you can look up event handling. See, it's down here, event handling.
So your answer is Google it.
Well, literally, I mean, don't try and bloody remember all these things.
No, fair enough, Rob.
Yeah, so there's all these there's, for example, key up and key down. Oh yeah, we'll get onto modifiers in a second. But actually will be under MDM. So I think the modifier we want in this case is v on mouse move. Yep. So this is going to trigger whenever the mouse moves. And we want to call, say, update coords. And we want to put a function here that says update coords. Now, how do we get the coordinates of the mouse? Anyone got an idea? Nope.
I'm not falling into that trap again.
So, well, by default, see, we haven't put any. We haven't actually done this like with brackets like this. So by default, whenever you have an event, just like a vanilla JavaScript event, the first argument that gets passed, E, or I call it E normally, is the event object, which stores all the information about the event. So we can console.log this, for example. I can't spell console. And you see that when you hover over, it only works when you actually hover over the div itself, because we're only catching v on mouse move, but that doesn't mean mouse move anywhere. That just means mouse move over the div. You see when I move over the div, I get this stuff coming in my console. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see there's this client X and client Y, which are our positions.
Oh wow.
So what we need to do then is just set this dot X equal to E dot client X and this dot Y equal to E dot client Y. And I save that. And as you can see now, when I hover over this, you see it updates in real time, the mouse coordinate as I move over the div. You see also it stops when I stop moving over the div. So when I'm over here, it doesn't move because the div is only this big. And it only tracks us when we're on this little region here. So maybe it's easier. I can go style and set the width, the height to 100%. Should just maybe make that easier to see. There you go. Okay.
Oh, that's why. Pretty neat, eh? Pretty cool.
Doesn't seem to have set the height. Never mind. I don't care. Yeah, you guys kind of happy with like how that would work? And then so one of the things is you might not know like all the different event types because you know there's loads of different of these things that can trigger them. So this is where it's like read the docs, as I said. Like go here. There's lots of documentation here, and this is actually more going to be under this API section on the website. So if you go to API, there's loads of stuff here. And where's stuff on events? Did I go past it? No, 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 no.
To be honest, Rob, I'm not clear on where the E came from.
The E. Yeah, so the E. So whenever you do anything, so even if we're outside of JavaScript, even if we're outside of Vue here and we're in pure JavaScript land, yep.
Mhm.
Say I do let document dot get element let div document dot get element by ID, and I just select our app using just standard JavaScript. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to make something similar in vanilla JavaScript, I do div.add event listener, just like you would for a normal thing, and you do mouse move because that's also standard JavaScript.
Okay.
And then we have this function because it takes this function as a callback, which runs when the mouse moves over the div. But whenever you have a JavaScript event hook like this, so whenever you have add event listener, or you're in VueJS with V on, the first arg function, this function always gets passed something called E, or it can be called whatever. You can call this whatever you want. You can call this event. You can call this event is cool. You can call it whatever you like. But the first argument is always a JavaScript event object.
Okay.
And if you're confused about JavaScript event objects, look no further than MDM, which has all. That's not what I wanted. Oh yes, it is. I think. This has all the different types of events that you could have inside of. So in our case, we have mouse move. This one here. So you click on it. If you scroll down, tells you that basically every browser in history has supported mouse move. And it'll give you some examples of. So it's what's called a mouse event. So you click on mouse event. Then this tells you all the stuff. So we're using these client X and client Y. Yep. But these are all we could also use any of these other things that are present in the variable. These are all also going to be in it. All these other list of things. And if you're confused, just do a console.log. So if you've got your event here, you can just do console.log event, and it will tell you basically what you'll see an object be printed to the console, and you can basically check out what stuff you've got to play around with. I mean, normally stuff like this, like it's been done before with a lot of the case, so you can normally Google. So, for example, there's similar ones for keys. You know, if you want to do like checking whether the keys have been pressed, or if you want to check, you know, I mean, there's all this stuff you can do. Drag and drop. You can do. You might want to check whether the browser's been resized or not. There's loads. But you don't. The point is, you don't need to remember them all. You just need to know where you would look to get references if you need to. You just need to know where to look when you get stuck, not necessarily how to use each one.
Yeah.
There is one. So going on to now, we'll try and do one for say text. So say we want to do inputs. We have an input field of type text. So we've got one of these now, blah, 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 blah. And we want to make it so that sets a variable. So let's have a look at one of these input fields. So now we've gone over click events and mouse events. So now let's have a look at, like, for example, a type event. So let's do v on, and now let's do key down, because key down will get fired whenever I type anything. Yep. And say what I want to do is I now want to fire an alert that kind of tells me what I've typed in here in this little key thing, but I only want to fire it when I press the enter key. Maybe I don't want to fire it all the time. Now there are various ways one could tackle this problem. So we'll probably want this. We'll probably want something like send message. We'll add in another method here called send message. By the way, so what I've done here with this, see this syntax here, where I've done say hello brackets and then just like the way I've written this. Yeah. You might see it written in the kind of old style, which would be written like this. This is kind of the older way of writing it. This way will definitely work on every browser. This way is kind of the newer. This way is like the new syntax. Because we're using we'll be using Node on the back end once we get going on the actual components. Node will automatically compile this to the most backwards compatible version of JavaScript, so that it will work on everything, even if you write it in the newer syntax. It's only at the moment, because we're writing JavaScript directly for the browser, that this could be an issue, for example. But when we actually get onto developing, you can choose whichever one you like. So these two syntaxes are equivalent. So, for example, what we want to do, we want to send a message that has the value of the text box. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't, I don't know, do any of you know how to get the value of the text box from the event objects for when you're doing this sort of stuff at all? Or maybe not. It's maybe been a long time.
Yeah, it's been too long.
Okay, so you do it's called e.target, and then it's
a bad test that I keep failing.
e.target and then value. That will get you the value that's currently inside of the text box.
To be fair, I don't think I ever knew that.
Okay, wow, that's probably something that's good. And we could maybe, we could store this actually in our data properly here as like value, and we could set it initially blank. Oh yeah, this is maybe something that's quite important. Remember before when we were dealing with objects in our little earlier meeting, and I said you could just add properties to objects after they've been made? I don't know if you remember that. You can't do that with Vue. So I can't, if I didn't have value here, I can't just do this dot value equals the. Yeah, you can't do that in the case. You can do it. It will not throw an error, but it will also not behave the way you think it will. So I would advise against it. That's just something to note. So in this case, I've actually defined value explicitly here and given it a blank value. And then I've put in, and then I'll set it equal to the target value. And then maybe I'll do alert. In fact, maybe let's print it out below us. So let's do a p tag, and then in here we'll put in value. We'll actually put it on the page. Effectively, what we've made here is kind of a similar thing to the V model. So let's try this. So now when we type, see it appears on the thing below.
So basically it's not typing it out for me.
Is it typing something out? It'll probably miss the last letter because of the way we programmed it. That's by design.
No, it's not. It's not typing anything.
So for example, if I just type in I, you won't see anything, and it's because when we do key down, That's before the value has actually been set.
Ah,
So you need to effectively press another key, and then it will get set again. It's kind of weird. That's just because we're using key down.